Hey folks, Joe here, and welcome to a new dev diary for Victoria 3. So this is the first one. Well, last week we actually had the number 0, but it was more of the vision and didn't really contain any information. So hopefully today the dev diary number 1 for Pops will give us a little bit more leads on what's going on with the games. Already I'm happy to see populations coming back from the leaked information, and well, not necessarily leaked, but from the information we have up to now about Victoria 3. It seems like the mechanic will be fine. So let's go with hello everyone, I'm Michael, Victoria 3 lead game designer, and oh boy does it feel good to finally be able to say out loud. Today I have the pleasure to reveal some details about one of the features everyone thinks about when they hear Victoria, the pups. And that is absolutely true, Michael. Absolutely true. Pups were introduced in the very first Victoria game to represent your country's population. Pup mechanics have since snuck into other Paradox titles like Stellaris and Imperator. They're in the game, but I prefer the Victoria approach to population. And Imperator is it's kind of a mana at a certain point because you can use them. But no, I prefer the way it works in Victoria too. It actually feels like actual population. But yeah, okay. But this in-depth population simulation is what Victoria 3 is all about. Victoria 3 power the country's engine, the work industry, they pay the taxes, they operate the government institutions, and they fight the war. They're born, they die, they change occupation, they migrate, and they organize, get angry, and start revolutions. Every pop is visualized so you can see which demographic sports the best mustache. Not that pop portraits are very much work in progress. So right here we got our first picture of a French Catholic clergyman. Early footage, so that is subject to change, but we can get some information. We do have a religion symbol here, so it will be Catholic on top of actually giving us that in the title. The clergyman, 3D models are fine. I mean, they'll be worked out, but this is pretty much what I expect from the Closewoods engine at this point with 3D models, following what we got with Imperator Rome and Crusader Kings 3. Otherwise, we get some details here. We have secure, what seems to be a TRGO icons with a number 20. Not quite sure exactly what that will represent. Maybe we'll wait for more details. And the background shows a pine forest behind. So I don't know if that's bound to the French. I know there's another picture, so we'll take a look at that. So you, the player, you'll be in charge of the country, but you're not in charge of the pups directly. Yet everything you do in the country affects them, and then they will in turn react in what they perceive to be their own best interest. That's great. A large part of your game consists in trying to save your population appetite, satiate, right? Satiate your population appetites for material goods or political reform. But most actions you will take aren't to the benefits of every pup in your nation. By making life better for one part of your population, you may inadvertently upset another demographic, which is normal and exactly what we're looking for in a Victoria type of game. The most important aspect of pups is their profession, which reflects the type of job it carries. I'm sorry, I'm getting pop-up on the Discord at the same time, so that's probably what you're hearing. A pup profession determines its social class, can affect its wages, political strength, and what other profession it might qualify for, and partially which political interest group it's prone to supporting. Yeah, we'll wait to hear more about interest groups. Up to now, it's interesting the way it's bringing up. It feels like the political parties, but now they will integrate the political parties in the game, following up the general consensus of the people in the forums and discords of the game. So we'll see how that mix in with the interest groups. Some of the profession you encounter in Victoria 3 are aristocrats, capitalists, bureaucrats, officers, shopkeeper, machinists, laborers, and peasants. Investing in industry that provides job opportunity for these kinds of profession you want to encourage your country is key to the society building gameplay of Victoria 3. That's great. So we can actually we don't tell population to change like in Victoria 1. You could actually take your farmers and tell them to become soldiers, and take your officers and tell them to become capitalists. You could do that in Victoria 1. and Victoria 2, it's more of a natural processes for the way it changes. But probably in Victoria 3, they will go in an intermediary. And if you create more farms, you'll probably start getting more farmers. Hopefully that is the way it's heading. That I think is the best way to go with population management, because in the first one it was just too much of a brutal change, right? You could change 10,000 farmers into soldiers. It wasn't very logical. So every variation of profession, culture, religion, workplace in the world get its own unique pop. At any time, this resulted in many tens of thousands of pop in the world working, migrating, procreating, agitating. That's great. That's just like Victoria 2, but we actually have like a more unique identifier for each pop with the 3D models we're getting. So right here, we got a Turkish Sunni Aristocrats. So again, early footage under development, subject to change. We get here. That will be like, would that be Sunni? Oh no, that's probably actually because. Let me roll back here. That's probably Clergyman, right? It's a profession symbol. That's what I believe, because that doesn't look like a Sunni. That looks like an aristocrat symbol. So we have an aristocrat. We got more details here. We have the same little T icon with secure in 22. Not much detail on what that means. But we got details on the population. We got almost 8,000. It's going up, I believe, probably 30 days average, plus 335. And they have a total of $853 in total. So that's probably in the entirety of the population. And now what I find interesting is right here. The workforce is 1.75K. And the dependence is 6.22K. Workforce is the actual aristocrat, and dependents will be the wives, the children, the elders that are part of the same class as their head of the household, that is an aristocrat. That is my assumption that that's going on. So we actually get like a simulation for a total population of the simulation, a simulation of the total population. But really, the workforce is 1.74K. Maybe with social reform, if you can force children to work or women to work, it will increase your workforce and decrease the amount of dependence. But the population will stay stable. So that's actually a interesting approach, because you don't need to actually simulate every single dependent. They can really just act as a larger block inside the small population, which will, I mean, with current computers, it probably won't be much of an issue to simulate the billion of people that will be on Earth. But now it's very good to know that every human is being simulated, whether as workforce or dependent. We get a little bit more details here. We got a state in Diyarbakir. The culture is Turkish, religion Sunni, literacy at 50%, and there is a discrimination of a star. I'm not sure exactly what to make out of that discrimination symbol. The amount of radical, loyalist, both at 0. Principal interest group, probably just an icon for local governor apparently. And political strength is 40K. Network is going up by 850. Its current value is 850, which is the total from the population, but you got it in a more comprehensive windows there. So it's for the aristocrats in the Ottoman Empire. Wealthy landowners own money with old connection as owners of farms and plantation and contribute to some of the profit in the investment pool. Aristocrats are part of the upper class. Aristocrats in the Ottoman Empire, there are 244K population, and the political strength is 1.55 million, which looks about to be 6 times higher. So my assumption here is it's probably that the aristocrats are weighted heavily in favor of them. So each of aristocrat vote is actually worth 6 normal votes. The aristocrat in the Ottoman Empire support different interest groups, notably local governor, armed force, and Sunni madrasa. And only the pups with adequate wealth can become aristocrats. Potential increase with greater wealth, and to a lesser degree with the literacy. Pup whose culture faces discrimination takes a much longer time. Officer and bureaucrats have a particularly easy time becoming aristocrats. So really, this is talking about a promotion. So the more wealthy they are, the less literacy is also important, but less than the actual wealth, and not facing discrimination. Just reduce the amount of time for the promotion. As well as the last information we have, officer and bureaucrats are much more likely to become aristocrat. So very some information. Up to now, nothing really out of expected. This is similar a lot to Victoria do system. But let's see what else they give us. The people that make up the pub are distinguished from the workforce independents. A member of the workforce keep the building in the game operational and collect a wage from them in return. Those who cannot or aren't permitted to officially be employed are considered dependent. They collect only a small income from odd jobs and government programs. Laws affect who is included in each category. At game start, most countries do not accept women working, collecting a wage outside of home, but by reforming the laws governing the rights of women, more dependent pups will enter the workforce over time. So pretty much what I was thinking here. By abolishing child labor, the amount of income independent bring home will decrease, but will make it easier to educate your population, increasing their overall literacy. After a bloody war, many dependent of soldiers may be left without sufficient income, and you may decide to institute pension to help the population recover. Very interesting. If you lose a lot of the active workforce population in soldier group, then the dependent still exists. They don't disappear overnight because the soldier died. Whereas in Victoria 2, unless I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure the total population was just a multiplication of the active population. So if the soldier died, the entire dependencies disappeared with him, which was kind of odd when you think about it. I don't know what they actually did with the dependents, but in Victoria 3 they should be more easily simulated. In short, nothing in country runs without pop, and everything about your country affects those with pops, who in turn provides new opportunity and challenge during your tumultuous journey to the Victorian era and beyond. I have so much more to say, but this is all for this week. You'll hear much more in the future Dev Diaries. Next week, Martin will return to explain something quite central to the game, capacities, which I believe is like the energy points I've been rambling about for previous video. And so basically this first Dev Diaries about population gave us like some insight into like how the information we'll be getting from the pop menus and what they look like. But otherwise, it's pretty much everything in line with what we were expecting. So it's not a very big dev diary, but it is a dev diary nevertheless. Hopefully you've enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure to drop a like and subscribe, because we will be watching out for capacities next week. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.